Hello again everyone. I've been waiting for a drier day to do another update on the garden. As you can imagine, nothing has been dying through lack of water for the last few weeks, but everything is kind of slow and kind of behind just because of the lack of sunshine and the lack of heat that we've had. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Anyway, I'll do a circuit of things and try and remember to say useful stuff as I go around. In this greenhouse we've got two different types of tomato. There's a currant tomato called Gold Rush and a cherry tomato called Shimmer, which are both starting to ripen now a little bit. These plants are as big as I want them to get, so I've been pinching out the side shoots and I've now pinched out the growing tips so that they don't get any taller. I also cut back the foliage quite hard. That's mostly to just try and keep on top of the plants drying out and to keep on top of disease, because I grow too many in a congested space. That's my own fault. But now it's just a case of waiting for these to ripen and harvest as we want them. Everything will be getting a weekly feed with liquid tomato feed now. That goes for everything that's cropping at the minute. The bronze fennel we've just let go to flower and go to seed again, as we always do. We just like it as a structure in the garden, and bees and hoverflies like it as well. The other thing that probably needs a little bit of work in this border is the thyme, which has got far too big and woody. I'll cut this back later in the year. That's the job for sort of late autumn winter time. I'll have to do it in stages, otherwise it's too much of a shock for it. But you can see, as long as you're getting fresh new growth coming from this centre part, then it will survive being cut back. Potatoes. This is a second early variety called Anya. I dug up a test dig last night of the first plant to see how they're getting on. They're doing okay. The rest of them, second earlies, should be harvested about 100 days after planting. Or when the tops die back is probably the best sign. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to leave them until the tops have died back completely, and then leave them in the ground for a couple of weeks longer after that. That helps to toughen the skins, and then they store a little bit better if you want to try and store them for longer. Otherwise, cook and eat them straight away and everything's good. Peas and broad beans are now done and gone because I grow early varieties of those. What I've got now here are some cauliflowers, which I'm doing my best to protect from cabbage white butterfly. I've already had to check the leaves and rub off quite a few eggs that I've found, and I'll keep doing that periodically, but they'll stay under the netting until the butterflies are finished, and then hopefully they'll be able to grow on okay. Beetroot we've also started harvesting as well, so anything that gets to sort of golf ball size or bigger is good for picking, and we'll just work our way through these, picking them as they come ready through the rest of the year. One of them has bolted here, so this is a beetroot that's bolted, and you've got a top that's running to flower and to seed. That's not going to be any good for anything anymore. The root will be tough. It won't be tasty, so that's just going to go on the compost heap. That's stuff. Round to the yes, strawberries. They have finished fruiting for this year. Again, this is another thing that struggled with all of the rain that we had. We realised that the plants are now too big and too densely packed, and a lot of stuff just rotted because of the wetness and the cooler temperature. So these are all going to get lifted now at the end of this year, and we'll replant new plants in a different place for next year. Now that the now that the strawberries have finished flowering, they move on to the next thing, which is sending out these runners, which is an easy way of propagating them. They'll send out these shoots with what looks like a baby plant on the end. If you just offer that up to some soil or some compost in a pot, it'll very quickly take, and it's a really good source of, or easy source of free strawberry plants. So we're going to do that with as many as possible, and carry those over into next year, like I say, in a different place. A lot of stuff in the veg patch is behind, again because of the weather, and also because we had a really late frost which killed just about everything that I'd planted out. But some things I was able to protect, and they're coming on okay. This is a first thing for this year. Was a climbing courgette. This is a variety called Black Magic. I read mixed reviews about these on the internet, but personally I'm actually really happy with them. They're growing well, and we like the courgettes that are coming off them. Patty pan squash are also starting to come good now and starting to produce some things for us. The iceberg lettuce are multi-purpose. They're nicer to look at than bare soil, and they're also sacrificial. They give the slugs and snails something to concentrate on rather than the things that we care more about. But we do get to harvest and eat a few of them as well. And the beans are still basically just getting going. They're growing happily enough now, but we're still early doors and only just starting to get some beans produced, so it's going to be a while before they really start to produce, but fingers crossed they'll be good. Out of the 4 winter squash plants that I planted, 3 of them died. Only 1 has remained. That's probably no bad thing because it's ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it would be, and it's now set for fruit. So I've pinched out the growing end of that, and I'll pinch out any side shoots so that it just concentrates now on maturing those 4 fruit as best I can. I'll have to support those with take the weight of those as they get bigger and as they mature more, so that they don't snap off the plant. But that's something for later in the year. Other courgette plant. If I go around to the last greenhouse, we've got more tomatoes in here. This is a plum tomato called Rugby Pink. It's been a bit cooler up here, and these are slower growing plants, so they're not at full height yet. I've not pinched out the tops of these yet, but I will be doing soon. Any tomato plant is really going to struggle to grow anything more than 6 trusses of fruit, so once it's established 6 bunches of flowers and set those and started growing fruit, then you might as well pinch out the tops. Otherwise it's going to struggle to grow anything more than that anyway. So these aren't far off being pinched out, and then they can just focus on growing what they've already started to grow. This is the other tomato, Matt Cosca, I think this was called. This is more of a bush type tomato. We got these seeds free from a catalogue, and they've actually been the best ones so far, so we'll be growing those again. A bit easier to manage. You just put them in a small container and let them do their thing. Cucumbers have been disappointing. Haven't grown a single cucumber yet this year. This was a variety called Lemon Crystal. I don't know if the seeds were duff or I've just been unlucky with the plants, but I'll probably go back to another variety next year called Socrates, which I've always had a lot more success with. That's just a standard small cucumber. Grapevine is doing its thing. If we're lucky, we'll get to eat some grapes before the wasps get to them. And the chili plants have been variable as well. So these are 4 plants, all of the same variety, but you can see that they've all grown to different level of success. Only one of them has really taken off and produced a reasonable amount of fruit. I think I probably said before, chili plants basically will take as much heat and sunlight as you can throw at them, and as you can imagine, they're probably not getting as much as they would really like at the minute, which is so they're a bit slow as well, but hopefully something will ripen by the end of the year. We shall see. And there's some sweet peas. Right, I think that's everything to say about veg stuff. Obviously my wife has been busy doing a lot of flower stuff as well, so maybe you don't care about veg at all, maybe you're more interested in flowers. I'll do a second video where I'll just try and add a little bit of information about some of the flowers that we grow, just in case anybody wants some ideas or some of anything they'd like to grow for themselves, so I'll do that separately. But other than that, I'll stop there. I hope you've all been enjoying your gardens as best you can, given the rain. I hope you're having some success. It'll be nice to hear about how you're all getting on, either via email or face to face as and when we meet again. Right, bye for now.